the number of people being affected with type 2 diabetes, it's skyrocketing. You can actually start to reverse this disease by changing the diet. And I think what's interesting is that you have to understand that type 2 diabetes is largely a dietary disease. And so we treated it with drugs for a long time. And if you give drugs to a dietary disease, well, you're never going to fix it because you haven't identified the core problem and fixed it. You need to change the diet to fix that dietary problem, then the disease goes away.
Dr. Jason Fung is a world-renowned fasting expert and author of the Diabetes Code, who shows us the 5 daily foods we should eat to reverse type 2 diabetes naturally. Enjoying these foods on a regular basis will also unlock fast, natural weight loss. He also shares his knowledge regarding his 3 powerful daily habits to reverse diabetes and mitigate the risk of chronic diseases.
You can reduce about 50% of the people and put them into a completely drug-free remission state. Like basically cure 50% of those type 2 diabetics who are at risk of cancer, at risk of heart disease, at risk of strokes, at risk of blindness, at risk of kidney disease, nerve damage, infections. All these people you can fix just by changing their diet.
He also covers the myth of juice fasting. Does it really work? Before he discloses his recommended diet, he reveals the biggest life-threatening mistakes in treating type 2 diabetes, affecting 29 million global population.
As you take more and more insulin, your body develops more and more resistance to it. And now you see that it's actually a real vicious cycle.
So now we know that if you're taking less medication for your type 2 diabetes means your diabetes is actually getting better.
So while the insulin lowers your sugars, it is actually raising your insulin resistance. So in fact, it's making things worse. You're getting more diabetes by taking the insulin. And that's the real problem.
We know you must be wondering, if not medicine, then how can we cure the underlying symptoms of diabetes? Dr. Fung explains his 3 golden principles.
One, you have to understand that the key to treating diabetes is not to take more insulin. That makes things worse. The key is how are you going to get those insulin levels really low, where a simple dietary maneuver can reverse your diabetes in a matter of weeks.
The last principle debunks the most common diabetes myth.
This is not a chronic progressive disease at all. This is in fact a curable disease.
He shares multiple patient success stories and how their HbA1c levels become normal without medication with only diet and weight loss plan.
So his weight, starting just above 250, has been steadily coming down. And it's down to 210. His waist size has continued to come down. And his hemoglobin A1c, which is the measure of his sugars, has stayed relatively stable. So he started off with 55 units of insulin. And within, 6 weeks, he was off of all his insulin.
So now it's pretty clear that if your blood sugars are normal, you are off medication, then your diabetes is cured. Here is another fantastic example of a woman following his diet plan.
Well, she very quickly lost about 20 pounds, and at her 3-month checkup, her hemoglobin A1c was 5.5%, well within the normal range, and clearly not diabetic.
But which 5 foods help stabilize your glucose levels? Let's discover his most sought-after diet plan. Dr. Fung believes that 90% of our food intake determines the outcome of diabetes. You can avoid all the diabetes-provoking foods in the world and still need medicine for diabetes if you don't eat what you must. When we are eating the wrong foods, our body's already full of glucose. So when you're eating more glucose and your body can't store any more of it, it's simply going to spill it out into the blood and eventually get stored as body fat. So as a first food he suggests, greens.
The other green vegetables are all fine. You should eat as much as you want. Turn the white stuff into the green stuff.
Dr. Fung means adding broccoli, cabbage, beans, courgettes, and kale in your meals in generous portions. You can also eat other veggies like mushrooms, tomatoes, onions, cauliflower, and eggplant in grilled or baked form. If you like soups or gravy, go ahead and make a delicious broth with carrots and peas, as it's a good source of beta-carotene, fiber, vitamin K1 and A, potassium, and antioxidants. Healthy fats. Since low-fat food is out of the equation, we must eat healthy fats in moderation.
You stick to natural fats, things like olive oil, butter, coconut oil are fats that are found in nature. They're unprocessed.
Olive oil is the safest option when cooking with low temperatures. And remember, you can cut oil altogether sometimes by opting for smart cooking options like baking, steaming, and boiling. Speaking of cheese, Dr. Fung says,
Cheese, only in moderation because it can be very easy to overeat them.
special fruits, apples and pears. Dr. Fung recommends apples and pears as they have equal amounts of minerals as potassium, phosphorus, sodium, vitamin C, and B2. Also rich in soluble fiber, which has been linked to lowering cholesterol levels. Berries.
Berries tend to be much better, and you can be a little bit more relaxed with those.
Besides apples and pears, Dr. Fung recommends 1 to 2 servings of mixed berries daily, be it strawberries, blueberries, or raspberries. We know blueberries are the richest source of antioxidants and anthocyanin, but as per a Harvard study, eating them actually reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart attack while promoting weight loss, memory, and longevity. Healthy proteins.
Lots of healthy protein, so things like meat, eggs, fish, oily fish. Full-fat yogurt is a good breakfast, he notes as well.
Oily fish is an excellent source of protein, vitamin D, and beneficial omega-3 fatty acids, all of which can help as part of a balanced diet to manage type 2 diabetes. You can indulge in salmon, tuna, and mackerel as freely as you like.
Protein is not a way for the body to store energy. So when you're eating a lot of protein, it's very difficult for it to turn it into a storage mechanism.
Also, unprocessed red meat, like a steak, has loads of protein in it, so it keeps you full for extended periods of time, helping to lower your blood sugar levels and insulin hormone levels.
If you eat a lot of protein, it activates a hormone called peptide YY, which tells you to stop eating. If you eat a lot of dietary fat, you activate a hormone called cholecystokinin, which again tells you to stop eating. And these are very powerful. If you look in the wild, there are no obese antelope, there are no obese lions. Why? Because how much body fat you carry is actually very important. If you are obese as an antelope, you're going to get eaten. If you are an obese lion, you're not going to catch any food. So therefore, it's going to correct itself.
So if I overeat now, my body will basically overcompensate by burning off the extra calories.
If you eat a giant steak, so you're activating all these satiety hormones, peptide YY, cholecystokinin, you're eating all this food, well, you may not be hungry for the next day.
Dr. Fung advises clean proteins, meaning all those processed meats like sausages, salami, and bacon must be avoided. He also considers 2 whole eggs eaten daily as healthy for diabetics. Zero sugar snacks. The only snacks Dr. Fung allows for type 2 diabetics are unsalted nuts like peanuts, almonds, and walnuts, as they are a rich source of heart-healthy fats and vitamins. Healthy fats keep your hunger at bay without increasing your blood sugar levels or insulin hormone levels. He also believes occasional treat of dark chocolate, 70% or more in small quantities, is allowed. 3 powerful habits to reverse diabetes. Dr. Fung believes that eating the right foods is not enough to reverse diabetes unless you have an active lifestyle that includes these simple yet powerful daily habits. The first habit is actually a miracle habit, according to Dr. Fung, and he can't seem to stop talking about its massive benefits.
We have this amazing tool. Doctors call it a fad, right? It's a fad diet. Well, it's been around for 2,000 plus years. That's a long, long, long fad. It's proven effective. If you don't eat, you're going to lose weight. What's simpler than that? If you don't eat, you're going to use up your blood glucose. Your diabetes will get better. Using intermittent fasting, it's free and anybody can do it. I'm not talking about a drug that costs thousands of dollars. I'm not talking about a surgery which is only available to the 1%. Like basically cure 50% of those type 2 diabetics who are at risk of cancer, at risk of heart disease, at risk of strokes, at risk of blindness, at risk of kidney disease, nerve damage, infections.
The second healthy habit for diabetes reversal is connected to your mornings.
Waking up every morning and exercising, well, it's simple for you to keep doing so.
A Harvard study revealed that exercise lowered HbA1c values by 0.7 percentage point in people of different ethnic groups with diabetes. Dr. Fung suggests physical activity, exercising, or a 10-minute walk after meals is most beneficial to prevent a glucose spike. As his third habit, Dr. Fung strongly recommends every diabetic patient to quit unhealthy snacking as it is addictive and toxic. He explains the scientific logic behind this.
You're just eating more calories. You're keeping your insulin high, which is keeping your body in that fat storing mode.
In fact, he wants you to stop thinking about food all the time and distract yourself because
you're not thinking about the food, so you're not hungry, you're not appetizing yourself by stimulating your appetite, and you've let your body burn off the body fat, which, as we've mentioned before, is just a store of food calories.
Intermittent fasting combined with Dr. Fung magic diet leads to weight loss, making our body insulin sensitive, causing type 2 diabetes remission.
Over the time that the people took this low carbohydrate diet, they lost an average of 8.3 kilograms, which is more than 18 pounds. They were able to reduce the overall medication use, and a stunning 46% of type 2 diabetics actually reverse their disease.
Dr. Fung also wants to bust a common myth regarding juice fast, which is a very common method with people who want to lose weight and get their type 2 diabetes under control. Does juice fast actually work?
I think it's less effective than regular fasting, and it really depends on how much juice you take. If you take a lot of juice, you could easily get, thousands of calories plus a lot of sugar. If you do it, cucumber juice and stuff that's very low in sugar and kale juice, then it could be very, very healthy for you because there's vitamins and stuff there. So it all depends on how it's done.
Well, how and why should you fast instead?
The fasting is a way for you to sort of clean out the body. So you can clean out the glucose. If you have excess body fat, you're going to use it, right? So again, way to clean it out. And then there's this whole process called autophagy, which is just fascinating. And autophagy is this, so it's been very topical because in 2016, one of the key researchers was given the Nobel Prize in Medicine. So it's a very important process that's been relatively recently discovered. And what they discovered is that when you don't eat protein particularly, but when you fast, your body activates this thing called autophagy, and it breaks down some of the subcellular organs, which sounds really bad.
Subcellular organs?
Yeah, so, these are sort of like the organs within the cell. So it's not like the liver, but there's something called organelles within a cell, and some of that is broken down. So basically these proteins and so on within the cell, your body gets rid of that. And you think, oh, well, that sounds really bad. But it's not. It turns out that it's very, very good for you because it's an opportunity for your body to get rid of all this old protein, old junky protein. And at the same time, remember that you're fasting, your growth hormone levels are shooting up through the roof. So like a 2-3 day fast, your growth hormone levels might go up 5 times. So you're getting rid of all the old stuff. And then when you eat again, you actually got growth hormone to produce new proteins.
Costly Ozempic or zero-cost intermittent fasting for successful fast weight loss? You need to watch as Dr. Fung puts these two methods head-to-head, reveals the pros and cons, and announces the clear winner between both contenders.